We are live. This is Baron and Sadist. We haven't done one of these in a long ass time. I know, we're guilty. I know. I know how much everybody loves the Baron and Sadist is, and so we had to bring it back again.
Bring them back. Bring them back.
So this is Baron and Sadist. For those of you who's going to show up or eventually show up, we have like four topics to go over for all intents purposes. Um, five technically. We got
Right.
we
George,
got
we got George Floyd's one of them. We
George
got
Floyd, Manosphere drama, traditionalism, single mothers internationally. I've just got single mothers in the thing, and we also have bitch think.
Bitch Think, yeah. And then we can lead off with that one, and then I kind of want to talk about that. Just whichever one comes, whichever once we run out, we just go to the next one,
Yeah, whatever
and
one's
then
easier to segue into, basically.
yeah, yeah. And if anybody everybody has any questions, put them down in the chat, and then maybe at the end you could have like people hop in, depending on the vibe. I'm just
Yeah,
really because they haven't done it in a while. I'm just trying to have fun with it. Really, doesn't matter
yeah,
to me.
basically. Well, Baron and Sadie is all about being serious. It's not about fun.
No, we're gonna be serious. I want people who are watching to have fun.
Mhm.
So yeah. So then this. Okay. So with this New York Post clip I just saw, I have definitely some new ideas to throw at the topic, like some new takes and stuff. And I don't think Tico agrees with them for once,
I
or
never
maybe
really
for
agree
the
with them. What are you talking about?
well, like half of the time you do, half of the time you do.
Okay.
Uh, but like, okay, so I'm gonna be. I mean, I'm, it's just he's very tense in the video clip that I'm watching of him.
Hmm.
And like you said, he tensed up, but I even commented. I said that he kind of bitched up
Hmm.
because I thought because it just from the first impression, which is in communication, that's the most important part. Is like the first your first meeting when you come within a certain distance of a person, you size them up. And I mean, if you're a cop, you do it even more. It's not. It's like you have to be you're trained specifically to do it a certain way.
Hmm.
So like when I saw him pull up, when I saw the body cam pull up, I fast forwarded through all the stuff in the store
Hmm.
because I didn't feel like they like it better. But then I saw their introduction to him, and he was like pretty much losing it already, and it seemed like he was preoccupied with what the consequence was going to be if he got arrested, and that's why he was just like crying. He was like, "I got shot already like this. I just lost my mom." This kind of stuff, and it seemed like he wasn't really focused on trying to work with the police so that they could figure out why they were called there. And
Hmm.
that's really unfortunate that he just bitched up in that moment when he could have just been relaxed and not really tensed up. I feel like they wouldn't have escalated if that would be the case.
Well,
What are your
no.
thoughts on it? Yeah.
I think it would have escalated either way because the irony to being a person of color
Mm-hmm.
is your relationship with the police is totally different than your relationship with the police as if you're white, and that's typically how it works. Like,
Mm-hmm.
is way different. It's like night and day. Your whole entire because the sad part about that, you'll never see a nigga on the news talking shit on a cop and all up in his face telling him what he can do, where he can shove it, and where he can do all this shit at, for the fact that he's probably going to be shot. I mean, there's probably some cases where that's the case, but at the end of the day, he's not going to get away with that like a white lady would, or the white guy that was actually in the thing. Or my favorite is the white guy who actually had his hands on his gun, and instead of the officer pulling out his gun, he had his hands up, telling him to chill, basically. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if that was a black man, he'd have been shot. There wouldn't have been no chill about that. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. It's because the thing that people fail to realize is my interaction with police and your interaction with police is two totally different things. Like, I don't even do anything wrong, but I get like the most dickish people in the world, and it's like they're just having a bad day. I guess I don't know, but it's typically what it is. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the police they seemed like a bunch of dicks, and the Minneapolis police are like a bunch of dicks. But like, Don't get me wrong. It's not his fault entirely. It's just
Mhm.
the way that I interpreted his actions was literally like he kind of
Well,
dropped the ball.
well, it's not the fact that he dropped the ball. It's the fact that it's basically the whole entire. If you're dark skinned, that's basically your interaction with the police, no matter what, because it could go either way. All you're trying to
Mm.
do is basically make it home safely to your fucking family. That's the only thing that's running through your mind. So you're going to cry because you didn't watch somebody else, seen the news and somebody else done got their head blown off by the police already, or got several holes in in their chest, or So typically with the police, you're going to technically, you're going to go through a range of
Oh,
emotions with police if
yeah.
you're black. For all
Right,
intents
you're
and
what
purposes,
you're
unlike if
thinking,
you're white.
because yeah, because I could see him because when he kind of was like breaking down, the like his actions got more and more erratic, and then when he realized it was pretty much over, you could see like the desperation, and that was I feel like triggered on by pretty much yeah, just like your perception when your skin color is that way, you're just like you have so many different examples of what could go wrong
Mm-hmm.
because if you watch the news at all, or if you aren't if you know you could be easily taken advantage of, and I think it's hard to admit that. um I mean unless it's proven to you by other people, it's hard to admit that you're kind of faulty in one area, and especially when you get the mixed messages. Like for example, yeah, sure, you in the news you'll see that black people are treated badly in reality, but then you're kind of also fed this message in that same field of like cable television and the media of black people being all being like entertaining and like being all kind of like like super flamboyant
Mm-hmm.
and crazy and outlandish and saying the most outrageous stuff. So it's kind of
Because
like a mixed message almost.
yeah, and the sad part about that is it's anytime you see a good interaction with a cop with a black person, that's that's technically an outlier because there's never really any good. Hell, even my interactions with the cops is never really all that great. I'm just going to keep it 100. Like I always say that I get the best cops in the world, but usually they're dicks at one point. At one point in our conversation, and usually either I can make them laugh and they lighten the fuck up, but at the beginning of the conversation, they're just being straight dicks. They're being straight dicks. And the sad part about that is it takes a while. If you can make them laugh, you can make them laugh. You can pretty much have a better time with them, and you don't have to worry about being fucking shot. Because there's been times when I've been worried about being shot. Like when one time I was getting into my own damn car, and apparently somebody said I was still in my car. Called the cops and said I was still in my car. Every single cop in the fucking neighborhood showed up with guns out the window and told me to get on the ground. Now, if one of them motherfuckers would have tripped and fell, I'd have been shot. It's typically how that works. But the sad part about that, nobody actually sees that, and they would have said, "Well, you shouldn't have resisted arrest." Nigga, I wasn't resisting. I was getting in my car. Big difference.
Yeah. Well, okay. What I noticed is like the problems never really change in that like people's approaches don't really change. It's just the technology gets more advanced. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like maybe on the criminal side, maybe you have enough technology where you don't encounter the police as much. Would be a
Yeah.
good example. But for the most part, when they're meeting, you can always bet that something's going to go wrong because it's
Mm-hmm.
just two people rubbing up on each other that aren't associated, and that's what I could feel watching the
Mm-hmm.
clip. But by the body language, he's been handled by the police before, and
Yeah.
he could know that this, they're going to basically manhandle him and over apply
And the sad part
pressure
about
to
that,
do
that's
stuff
typically
like
how
that.
that works. And the sad
Yeah,
part about that, as a black man, you basically want to bitch up for all intents and purposes if you're going to deal with the police. I don't bitch up at all, and it's probably against to my detriment. But like, if you're a black man and you're living in the United States, you don't want to act tough. You actually want to act like a bitch if you're dealing with the police. It is what it is. Because at the end of the day, you're more likely to live unless that cop has a superiority complex. You're more likely to live. It's very hard. It's very hard to fuck with a person crying like a little bitch and get away with it on camera than it is to fuck with somebody who's resisting arrest or looks bigger than you for all intents and purposes.
my issue is just that like okay, you say like a cop's a psychopath, they're not gonna kill somebody unless it's an accident.
Well, no,
they're
it's not
more
the fact
likely
that they're
to
psychopaths.
see.
There's a lot of. It's kind of like what I talk about when it comes to racial bias. Everybody has bias. Everybody's racist to a certain extent in their whole entire life. I don't give a damn who you are. I don't give a damn if it's your grandma. I don't give a damn if it's me, you, anybody else. Everybody is racist to a certain extent. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Everybody has a racial bias. So therefore, based on your racial bias, that's how you're going to act towards that particular group of people or race for all intents and purposes. It is what it is. It's just facts. You can't you really it's basically biology. You really can't defeat biology unless you learn about it, unless you think about it while you're in that moment to actually overcome it for all intents and purposes. Hell, I have racial biases. It is what it is. I'm not afraid to admit that I do. I really do. Like I said, I'm not fin to walk near a bunch of white women because 9 times out of 10, there's probably a Me Too allegation or one of them goofy bitches are probably gonna fall down and blame me because she busted her head off the curb. I ain't got time for that. Another good example of that is I don't walk near a large crowd of white people because usually those are usually the crowds who usually get shot by mass shooters. So I avoid those at all costs. That's typically how I operate. It is what it is. So my racial bias has actually saved me for a lot of shit based on society and statistics. It is what it is.
Mhm. Well, okay, and I don't want to cut this topic too short, but we'll bring it up. But traditionalism is a good segue into that because you have racial biases as a part of traditionalism, and like
Mm-hmm.
you have a lot of biases as a part of the traditionalism,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times in like a cosmopolitan area where there's people going in and out, tourism tend to be the most populous area in
Mm-hmm.
general. You have a lot of people who kind of go with the flow, but then they're not. I mean, it's not that I'm saying that the behavior it could be different because what you're saying is like biologically, everyone's gonna have some sort of like, oh,
Bias.
I'm taking it back,
Let
or
me let me
like
let me let me let me rephrase
yeah.
that. It's not a thing that's it's not necessarily just always biology. It's basically environmental, I should say. I'm sorry. It's more environmental. Unless you were raised by a certain group of family, if you're raised by family members who were done wrong by a certain group of people, you tend to have a certain outlook on that type of those people for all intents and purposes. So it's pretty much one of those things that's environmental and learned because 9 times out of 10 they had to actually learn that to actually keep themselves alive. It's typically like it's typically what I say about the whole entire the whole entire slavery thing. The reason why black people are the way they are today is because we basically just let them free and we never really corrected the psychological damage that was done to them. That's typically why we say the damage is done and it needs to be repaired
Hmm.
or it needs they like if anything, don't give out reparations, give them niggas therapy.
And like my issue with the brotherhood thing is like you have like a black version of brotherhood and then like a non-black version of brotherhood where it's
Mm-hmm.
like the black version of brotherhood is like, all right, where are we gonna get some bitches at, where are we gonna get the net, like how are we gonna make some quick cash and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like it gets intellectual insofar as like, okay, you people like are much more likely to trust intellectual blacks in a business partnership. And so
Mm-hmm.
a lot of like the black community is like in the intelligentsia, if they become, quote unquote productive members of society,
Mm-hmm.
often have to have this mentality, or I guess it'd be like have to be able to code switch into like a personality where they're like, oh, I know so much about stuff because that actually builds trust with people who are different skin
Mm-hmm.
tones than you, or different skin tone than you. But then the other side of brotherhood is completely different, and it's like it's focused on something completely different, and it's why I kind of am like skeptical of brotherhood in general when it's as it is as like an online phenomena. Like, of
Well, the
course,
problem with
brothers
brotherhood
are,
is
of course, because like my thing is like positive masculinity, right? Like I do believe that men should be able to be who they are, but then at the same time, when you gotta put all of this extra effort into to understanding and accepting brothers and stuff, it kind of like it makes me think why think about more when I say I want to help men, what that actually means, and not how it's being, I guess, portrayed through like this lens of brotherhood, like Black Brotherhood, that kind of thing.
Well,
Is a hard. I have a
the
hard time
problem with
getting
Black
that.
Brotherhood and the other Brotherhood you're speaking of is the fact that they're both they both have about as much weight as a piece of paper in a wind. The wind blows the right way, that Brotherhood is broken. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So the sad part about that is a good example of that is the shit that was happening to me not too long ago. You see what I'm saying? So like Brotherhood didn't mean shit when you wanted to run my name through the mud for all intents and purposes. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because
It's
that's
shit
like the
like that.
perfect place where you can get drugged. When there's a disagreement, Brotherhood is a tu brute.
And the sad part about that, it wasn't even a disagreement.
It's betrayal. It's like
It was some shit
fratricide.
that was resolved not too a while ago that came back up, and now people are restarting shit all over again for all intents and purposes. So some shit that they got rehashed after it got reworked, after it got worked out again for all intents and purposes, after it got worked out in the first damn place, and now you want to drag my name to the mud. That's typically like that's how you know brotherhood means nothing to anybody. Brotherhood means dick to anybody. People are only as loyal as their next opportunity. That's all it really is, and that's technically
Exactly.
how I feel about a lot of
And the
people.
moment that because some are more easily permeable, and then so you have all these. You have in certain places you have a bunch of brotherhoods right on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like a lot of pressure, like loyalty pressure. Every gang of people, no matter where, is they do things a certain way to get to initiate you. So it's like if people are right next to each other, you're gonna have a bunch of different initiations all the time, and that's why it like pays to be neutral because you actually get some zoom out and you get to actually see what's going on instead of as opposed to just feeling like you have no other options but to just join. Because I feel like people are overwhelmed by the amount of social pressure that they have.
Well, no, it's not even that, yeah. It's like the problem with brotherhood is, like I said, men are only as loyal as what somebody else is going to say next on social media about you for all intents and purposes. That's typically how it works. If somebody makes a video saying that you're this, that, and the other, they're all going to follow that shit without investigating the shit, and you're going to be this, that, and the other. And then eventually they're all going to come crawling back to you for all intents and purposes. Say, I'm sorry we left you, this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other. Like, if your loyalty is that flimsy, you don't have any loyalty in the first damn place. And the sad part about that is like I'm the most loyal. The sad part about that, at the end of the day, I don't give a damn who says what. I am the most loyal person you'll ever fucking meet in a whole entire manosphere.
Let me
We can
ask
have a debate
you.
about
Let
it.
me
We can
let me
argue
ask you
about it.
this.
I'm always going to be
Yeah.
right, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm the most loyal person you'll ever meet in a whole entire fucking manosphere. But I'm also
Let
the
me
one
ask.
that will get
Okay.
dumped on the most in a whole entire fucking
Oh, for
manosphere
sure.
for all intents and purposes.
That's true. Yup. 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 Well, I mean, let me ask you this: do you think? So let's like dissect a little bit more though, because we're already going down this rabbit hole, and we might as
Yeah,
well
because
go a
at the
little
end of
bit
the day,
further.
like everybody always talks about how what's his name got done wrong. That nigga ain't got shit on me. How much I've been dumped on. That fucking retarded ass dictionary guy ain't got shit on me. As far as people dumping on people, he's like that nigga's not
No,
even
like I always say,
no
dude,
deep in the shit.
he's a
A,
nice
a
ass.
nigga
Nice
like
guy.
niggas try to
He's
dunk
a
and
nice.
drown my black ass. His ass
He's a good
barely
guy.
barely got his feet wet and shit.
He's a good guy for sure. And like I agree with you. And like because they align so much, I actually have to ask you, like the women, when women can like it's a good example, like when women can all of a sudden just like recover immediately and just boost a new like follow a new thing. Like in the red pill communities they talk about like Genghis Khan. Like when
Mm-hmm.
he take over, all the women go over to him. It's like, is that an example of having like bad loyalty or like no loyalty or like having
No, that's
a
all about your
bad set?
survival, basically, and it's
Hello?
all about your survival, pretty much.
Oh, Tico, I think the audio got messed up. I can't hear you.
What
Hold
happened?
on, I'm a bounce him.
Oh, good lord! Why does Tico look like Karen? That's the cartel princess. She set up the damn live stream and thought it'd be funny to put her picture in there like a goofball.
Okay, what? Who's the goofball?
The cartel princess.
Oh, okay. I guess what I was just saying is just like because we're going over loyalty again, and then it's just like it's kind of like women do this too, but they have like a better way of doing it, I guess. Because like when guys do it, it's just fratricide. It's just foul, and it's just like it's not done properly. I feel like when guys turn on other guys, it's just like,
when men do it, it's very sloppy.
Yeah, exactly.
When men do it, it's very sloppy.
Yeah,
and it's done very wrong. When women do it, it's done like damn near with surgical precision. The sad part about that is when you dump on somebody,
women, like, they just cut somebody out of their life easily.
The sad part about that is because I'm the most resilient person you'll ever meet, plus I'm the most loyal person you'll ever meet. If you dump on me, I'm gonna let you slide. I'm not gonna fuck with you for a while until you come back and apologize to me, but I'm gonna let you slide. I'm not gonna fuck with you. I'm not gonna watch none of your shit. I'm not gonna support you. I'm not gonna come your way because at the end of the day, you dumped on me. Now, if you apologize to me, I will come back. I will actually watch your shit and I will continue to support your ass. If you don't, and it's typically how it is. Like, the thing about it is, like, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm the most neutral person in the whole entire manosphere. I don't give a fuck what's going on. I don't care who's shooting who, what's shooting what. As long as I don't get shot in the process, I'm gonna stay neutral. The minute I get shot in the process, I'm picking up a gun and taking the opposite side of the person who shot me. It's simple. It's that simple. Because like you're not finna shoot at me and expect me not to shoot back at you. And that's technically how I react to things. Like, oh, you're shooting at me now. Hold that thought. And it's technically what it is. Because the sad part about that is what a lot of people don't realize is like I don't really think about things the way everybody else do. I think about things on a bigger scale. So if this shit ain't worth my time, I'm not going to get involved. If it ain't worth my damn time, and if it is worth my time, I will get involved. However, if shit hits the fan, then I'm going to get involved. However, if I don't believe shit hit the fan, then I'm gonna stay on the sidelines. It's technically how I handle the stuff. But yeah, it's just kind of weird because at the end of the day, men are only as loyal as their options for all intents and purposes. And this is why we say I'm happy with the subs that I have because my subs actually know who the fuck I am. Oh, Yam fell out again. Damn, Yam. I'm gonna change this damn avatar because it's getting on my damn nerves. Yam, how the hell you fell out? Yam fell out. Okay, apparently he's not coming back now. Typically, men are about as loyal as their options. Basically, I always joke about men see ass and tits and they go with ass and tits. Basically, men are only as loyal as their opportunities are for all intents and purposes. Because if their opportunities suck, they're more likely to go with the place that has more opportunities for all intents and purposes, and are less likely to be loyal to the person that they're actually always loyal to. The sad part about that is basically no different than what he's talking about with Genghis Khan and women. It's all about survivability. Nothing personal. I'm going with this person because I want to live. That's understandable. But if you're going to dick somebody around and you can't really expect them to actually still be nice to you for all intents and purposes. He fell off the bus, literally. But the sad part about that is like I was saying, like I was saying, when it comes down to it, I'm happy with my subscribers that I actually have for the fact that they know who I am as a human being. And either they respect that or they fear that or they respect that. Either way, they know who I am as a human being. So when they hear shit about me, it's like, no, that's not Tico. That's definitely not Tico. You want some bullshit, basically. It's typically how it works. And I actually enjoy that about my actual subs. So I don't care how many subs I got. I will always be happy with my core subs for all intents and purposes for that reason. Red Pill Reaper is back. Where the hell is Yam at? Yeah, but I will always be happy with my core subs because they support me no matter what's going the fuck on. They always supported me no matter what the hell's going on for all intents and purposes. And the sad part about that is To be honest with you, I couldn't do this without them. My core subs, for all intents and purposes. Without them, I wouldn't be making this shit, and I wouldn't be anything for all intents and purposes. And I'm willing to admit that. But at the same time, there are the people that come and go, and it is what it is. And where the hell is Barry Yam at? Where the hell did this fool go? Did his phone die? His phone probably died with his goofy ass self. That just seems like some shit he would do. My phone died. His phone probably died. But typically, yeah, it's supposed to be Baron and Sadist. Now end up being just Tico Tren. Well, I know I'm human, but the sad part about that is I'm less likely to make mistakes like other people. And the sad part about that is a good example of mistakes being made was in the Manosphere. There was a video that was floating around with that paternity test with the chick, the guy saying the child is not mine, and her responding. I actually made a video about that, but if you look at my description box, I actually said that this is actually fake, and it was actually one of them what's it called, jokey things where they were making like it was a prank for the most part. I actually put that in the fucking comment section below, but I said typically this is what you need to look for in women when you actually deal with a woman when she's lying to you for all intents and purposes, or when she goes to flip it back on you, is what I said at the bottom of there, even though I knew that the video was fake. Now, all the rest of the MGTOW people and all the rest of the red pill people ran with that shit and thought it was real. The sad part about that, I analyzed it and realized that person's a prank, does a lot of prank videos for all intents and purposes. And I said, nah, fuck it. I'm not even fucking with that, but I will use it as a learning tool. But the sad part about that is I realized that it was a mistake, but I still was able to use it as a learning experience for men if they're in a relationship with women, because typically that's going to be the same. That's going to be the same thing. That's going to be the same thing you're going to encounter in a relationship with a woman. However, it wasn't real, but that's still how she's going to react to you and make it seem like it's your fault. So that whole entire the baby's not mine video that everybody was showing around in the Manosphere was actually a prank. I didn't want to say anything about it because I didn't want to hurt nobody's feelings, so everybody could still push their narrative for all intents and purposes. But I did leave in my comment section, my description box. It's fake. It's a fake video. Despite the fact that it's a fake video, I can still teach men how to learn from this video for all intents and purposes. Is what I actually put in my description box, while I let everybody else pretty much run off and look stupid. This is why I don't do videos like everybody else, because I know there's always extra to it. So yeah, there's a lot of JD Mouse. There's a lot of prank videos floating around.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I fell out. Was a phone call, but
yeah, I kind of figured.
The thing about the traditionalism though is like, I think because after I kind of just like give you my hot take, my real thought about it is it's good, but I don't think it's good because it hides men and women in this society. It hides their kind of their flaws and the things that they need to improve.
No, because no. That's womanism. That's not traditionalism. There's two types of traditionalism. There's womanism and there's traditionalism. Womanism is the new age traditionalism. Traditionalism, in a nutshell, is basically yin and yang. Womanism is I just want to benefit from this, and it don't matter what the benefit is. I want to benefit from this for all intents and purposes. Let it be. I want a man with good D, or I want a man with money, or I want a man with car. The neat thing about wominists is they're particular about what they want in a man. The sad part about feminists is they're not particular at all. They just basically throw shit up in the air and hope something sticks to the fucking ceiling. That's the difference between wominists and feminists. Traditionalism is actually good for the fact that real traditionalism, not this fake shit, real traditionalism is actually good for the fact that it's all about yin and yang. You complete each other. One person's good with a little bit of bad, the other one's bad with a little bit good. Either way, y'all complete each other and it's good. The sad part about that is the thing that fucks that whole entire dynamic up is birth control. Because at the end of the day, birth control basically takes and alters a woman's perception, pH balance, and chemicals and everything else. So she ends up picking a man that's similar to her. So now she's not dating yin and yang. She's dating yang, and they're basically yang and yang dating for all intents and purposes.
Okay. Well, then is it okay? So let me ask you this then: is it right to make a new word to define something that's wrong about traditionalism, or is it better to just understand the part of traditionalism that we would all be talking about when we're talking about the bad part of it, which is that it actually prevents growth in that like you let you let each other hide some of the flaws and stuff that you actually have instead of working on yourself.
Well, no, the sad part about traditionalism is you don't have flaws. You both basically got to work on the flaws because it's only you two. That's how traditionalism actually works. It's you two. So now you have to basically her strengths or your weaknesses are her strengths, or vice versa, if you know what I mean. But the sad part about that is you got to actually meet somebody. You can't have somebody that have they're both going the same direction, because at the end of the day, a lot of these people get into relationships and nobody can fix anybody's weakness because everybody's weakness is the same. That's typically the type of people who get in relationships and end up in divorce. Their weaknesses are both the same. Their strengths are both the same. So they're going to butt heads, and they're not going to be able to rebuild when it comes to the shit that they're weak at. You always need somebody to be a yin and yang. That's what traditionalism is supposed to be. Sad part about that, like I said, when you take birth control pills, that alters your whole entire way of how you pick your mate. So you end up with yang and yang, or yin and yin. You don't end up as yin and yang. So the sad part about that is you end up both top heavy, but there's no base to your actual relationship for all intents and purposes. So anything can pretty much shake up your base. That's typically how that works. So it's not like you're creating a new word. It's just the fact that women are basically women of this age that basically like traditionalism, but they want all the trappings of the new world for all intents and purposes, but they still want traditionalism. The funny thing about what makes womanists and feminists different is a womanist wants a particular skill from a man, whereas feminists don't know what the fuck they want, so they just throw shit up in the air and hope everything stick and hope you like everything they threw up in the fucking air. That's typically how feminists work.
Yeah, well, how can any woman understand what she wants if she doesn't even understand the technological environment she lives in?
And you drop out again. I'm trying to wait for him to come back because this is getting out of hand. Okay, there you go.
Well, and how like rudimentary stuff like computer, like what exactly the computer does. She doesn't need to know that.
It's not even that, Yam. See, that's
her emotion.
Yeah, that's just it, Yam. You're missing a point. You're missing the whole entire point. It's all about yin and yang. You're not going to 9 times out of 10, if you're dating somebody, one of y'all know how to fix a car, the other one doesn't. So you're dating somebody who can fix a car just in case shit happens. Good example of that is another good example of that is if you're dating somebody, 9 times out of 10, somebody's probably good with the injuries and handling like injuries and shit like that and patching you up, or good as a caregiver. You're not going to date 2 people who suck at caregiving. You see what I'm saying? So the sad part about that is at the end of the day, your partner is going to have all the skills that you're not good at, and your other partner is going to have all the skills that you're not good at. That's why we say there's 2 motherfuckers in a relationship. You motherfucker and her motherfucker. Both y'all skill sets are going to basically mesh like yin and yang. It's not going to look like yang and yang. Because if it looks like yang and yang, it's going to look funny as hell. It's going to look like 2 wings. It's going to look like angel wings for all intents and purposes. You want it to be yin and yang, and you want it to fit together perfectly. So basically what I'm saying is you want them to fit together, because whatever you don't get at your base, she gets at your base. Whatever she doesn't get her top, you got at her top. You see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. They gotta. You have to complement each other. But
basically,
I think
that's what traditionalism originally was, and that's what how it's supposed to be.
I mean,
I would
agree,
America said, real traditionalism actually works. Yeah. Womenism.
So do you think?
No. The sad part about womenism is The problem with womenism, which is actually an offshoot of traditionalism, the problem with womenism is these women tend to end up with a bunch of men that don't fit what they actually want in a man.
Hmm.
And that's typically how that works. This is what I'm talking
I
about with the whole
realize
entire
I
birth
realize you're
control.
either I realize you fall into two schools. You either have a backlog of people that didn't work out with, or you made a right decision to
Yeah, it's
like
typically how
to
it
choose a
works.
person. Yeah, so
That's
like
typically how it
I
works.
feel like anybody who's been unsuccessful has a numerous amount of experience to go off of, and then you don't really need to go out back into the world to dating to figure out what exactly you want. It's more just like something that you already
No, yeah, the
can
sad part
conjure
about
up
that
your
is it's one of
capability.
those things where like it's kind of it kind of sort of it's kind of like what I was saying that kind of sort of fucks up the whole entire dynamic when you got to train some damn baddie. If you got to train somebody, you're fucking up the yin and yang already. Yin and yang's already fucked up from the start, and it's going to be fucked up when you're finished. For all intents and purposes, it's not going to be yang. It's going to be yin. It's going to be yin and yin. Whereas if you're working with somebody who has the same strengths as you, it's going to be yang and yang. You don't want yang and yang, nor do you want yin and yin. You want yin and yang.
So wait, okay, so skill and skill complementing one, but in this day and age, it's more like one side has almost no attainable skills, and another person might have all the skills.
Yeah.
Or is that a bad way of looking at it? Because maybe your skills aren't just you need to try a different way to manage your skills because you're just not you need to tap into your potential. You need to start networking. You need to start connecting. You need to start doing all this extra shit. But I feel like it's kind of like in communication we talk about the Overton window. I feel like it's more like what I'm talking about is just it's like literally like a window off to the left, like off to the way over to the from left field because it's
Mhm.
not actually what the term physically describes. Like I
Well,
think it's more
here,
so that like
I'm
traditionalism
gonna
isn't.
sum up. I'm gonna sum up womenism to basically help you understand where you're trying to go with this. Womenism is basically traditionalism, but it's like a picky traditional. It's basically picky traditionalism. The neat thing about womenism is the woman actually knows exactly what she wants. However, a lot of shit gets in the way of getting to what she actually wants. Like I was saying about Tommy Lauren, she doesn't want a guy that looks good and has a lot of money. That just looks good and has a lot of money. She wants a man that can dick her down. That's typically what it is. That's technically all it really is. The same
Mhm.
thing goes. Another thing as far as like Georgia Free is concerned, she wants a man with good looks and money. Um, Somebody like her wants a man with good looks and money for all intents and purposes. Don't matter what the hell he's doing in the bedroom. She just wants a man with good looks and money. Um, or somebody like Tommy Lauren is looking for somebody with some D. She don't give a fuck what's going on. She just wants the damn D, and she wants it to be good, and she wants it to be good all the time. That's typically all she really wants. And this is what people don't seem to get or understand about women that are womanists. They have a particular
Well,
skill
okay, yeah,
set that they actually need
true.
from a man, and if they can't get it, they end up in fucked up relationships, or they end up like being single for the rest of their lives for all intents and purposes, which ends up really happening. They end up in a lot of bad relationships, and it ended up not really working out for them because they don't fit. The men that they pick don't fit what they actually need their man to be. The sad part about that is women just actually know what they want when it comes to actually applying it in real life. It's very hard because here's the thing: it's very hard to look at a man and say he got good D. You know what I mean? You can't look at a man and say he got good D. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You can't just go out there and be like, he got good D, he got bad D, he looked like he got good D, he might have good D, he has bad D. You can't really do that. That's the problem.
yeah.
That's where that whole
Mhm.
entire thing comes into play. So you're gonna have a hard time finding a man that's gonna give you good D than you are to find a man. Then you are to, I mean, then you are going to be able to find a man where you know that looks good with money. Like that's pretty much what Georgia Free wants, a man that looks good with some money. But the sad part about that, a woman her age, a man's not checking for her at her age. A man's checking for somebody younger than her way younger than her for all intents and purposes.
Yeah,
That can
yeah,
pretty much
yeah.
still have children and he pretty much wants a family for all intents and purposes. So he's not going to be checking for Georgia Free. He's more likely going to be checking for a Tommy Lauren. But the problem is though, Tommy Lauren, that's not what Tommy Lauren wants. She wants a man with
Shout
D.
out to
She
Mr.
doesn't want what
Goodbar.
She doesn't want a man that got some good looks and money only. She needs a man that that could break her off a Kit Kat all the damn time. Break her off a piece of that Kit Kat bar, all the damn time. It is what it is. Like, so that's the thing that people run it. That's the problem that a lot of people in the manosphere run into when they try to say, well, she's being a feminist. No, she's not a feminist because she actually knows what she wants. If you actually listen to what she's fucking saying while she's venting, she knows what the fuck she wants. She's not getting it, so therefore she's mad about it. That's how that works. Whereas feminists, they bitch about a lot of shit, and they want you to accept a lot of shit, and they hope shit sticks.
Yeah, she just does it. Well, that's the thing that I feel like if you still believe you can like cohabitate or traditionally marry or what's the third side to it, which is like get 100% of your needs met from one person. Like it's hard to ask that much out of a person, and whether you want to call it training them or call it something else, it would just be too much. It would be putting all your eggs in one basket, for example.
And the sad part about that is when it comes from the difference between feminists and womanists, feminists are high maintenance as hell. They cost a lot of money. They're just high maintenance. Womanists, depending on what they're looking for, let it be money and looks, or money or looks or dick, they're pretty low maintenance for all intents and purposes. And the sad part about that is everybody thinks they're high maintenance, but they just want one thing and one thing only. Whereas you got your Georgia Freeze where you got to be this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other. But that's something totally different. Whereas you got your Tommy Lawrence, she just wants to be
women.
Women
on the left are much more prude, and like they're prude.
Well, they're not prude. They're not prude. They got a long list of shit that they want that they don't fucking deserve. Whereas a woman has actually got a short list of shit that they actually want that they could probably get and find very easily. But like I said, it's very hard to look at somebody and go, he got good dick. You would literally have to go back to all his ex-girlfriends to ask how his dick is, and that would probably be kind of weird.
It'd be hard to get, like you said about environment, it's hard to get good sex if you have a long list, unless you're with an environment with a lot of guys that don't care, and that's the thing that I think people don't realize is.
Yeah, and it is what it is, because the sad part about that, because the women on the left will always virtue signal saying that I want a guy that does that. I want a guy, I don't care what he does for a living, this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other. But the sad part about that, if you ever look at their partner, that motherfucker got money. That motherfucker always got money. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
But women, traditional women,
about face.
Yeah, it's complete about face from what they were saying that they wanted a man for all intents and purposes. They claim they don't care what he looks like, they don't care how much he makes, but that nigga always got more money than they do for all intents and purposes. The sad part about women is these are the women. A good example of this is these are the women that always joke about like, oh, nothing like a woman's weakness is a broke nigga with D. You see what I'm saying? These are the type of women that date broke niggas with D that'll take care of a man. This is typically how that works. They just want a nigga with D. That's all they want. They want a nigga to run the D on them. Look, it don't matter what your race is. They just want good D.
And a lot of times he's pretty. I mean, if a person doesn't have their life together, they can come off as high maintenance to one of those womanists because if all you get from D is them, you don't really need to micromanage their life. So they kind of have a tendency to not really be doing shit and be available. Because that's why
the sad part about that, most men, but the sad part about that, these are the same men that are riding around in their girlfriend's car or their wife's car, don't own shit. They just basically driving around in her shit and go pick her up from work and pick her up in her shit for all intents and purposes. Yeah. That happens so often, it's ridiculous. That happens more often than black pillars talk about women meeting men with the chiseled chin and shit like that. Well, there are a lot of men running around here in their woman's car, driving their woman's car, and spending their women's money, and they're okay with that. Now, me personally, I'm not okay with that. I'm not fin to no, just no.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, every man has a niche, but I mean, it's not like I'm desperate for a niche that's like that looks that way. I mean, it's not like I have no other option. But I mean, is that traditionalism in a nutshell? Then it's not what it used to be.
It's not what it used to be because there's now two schools of thought. There's now two schools of thoughts in traditionalism now. The original is original traditionalism, and now there's womenism. So they're both traditionalism. The one's just a later offshoot of the other one. It's all about like getting your bag, but trying to find what you need in a man for all intents and purposes. And the sad part about that, most womenists are pretty low maintenance, unless you're Georgia Freed and you want a man with money. And you want a man with money, you still want to have kids and shit like that. You want a man with money, you still want kids, and you want them to look good. Typically, is how that works. Um, the funny thing about
Yeah.
that is a person that would actually date somebody like a you or me or an Americus would be like a Sydney Watson would actually date somebody like Americus or Shinobi Wan or a me or a you for all intents and purposes, because
Yeah.
we're at the irony to it is we actually fit within her wheelhouse of the type of man she would actually date. Then there's the other chick, the Laura Southern chick. She's all over the fucking place, so she's still trying to find herself. So give her time, she'll eventually find herself, and she'll find the right man. I highly doubt she will, but
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, she's actually still trying to find herself. So there's that group of people all the time too. So that's the ones you'll run into also. They're still trying to find themselves and find their position in life. Um, but
Yeah, I mean, okay. So do you think that
you think you found your niche, Americas? I hope you better
Well, okay,
not.
okay, no,
You better
he's
not.
right. He's right. He's right. He's right. But your niche doesn't have to involve a woman. That's the
True
thing.
story.
Boom. There
It
you
better
go.
not. It better not. Like I said, it better not. But the sad part about there are a lot. Like I said, there are a lot of men rolling around being taken care of by women. And the sad part about that is these women who take care of these men are womenist.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not to boost the man's ego, but think of it as like a pie chart, right? And I think like 99% of your needs as a man are met by yourself, and 1% is met by the woman. Whereas it's the same with with women too. And then like
Well,
being
no, because
your
at the same
niche,
time,
your niche
no,
should
because the
fill
sad part
your
about
niche
that is
should be
no,
for oh
no, because at the same time though, it's not 99% of your needs aren't met by yourself; they're met by your woman.
okay, sorry,
You're
let
only
me
meeting
rephrase
the
that.
sad part about that. You're only meeting one or two of her needs, and she's meeting all of your fucking needs. You see what I'm saying? That's how that relationship
I
basically
understand.
works. It always say this: if you're willing to be a man that's willing to actually pretty much pimp himself out like that to that level,
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Go
I
ahead.
get what you're
Be
saying.
my
I
guest.
wasn't
I'm
really
not going to
looking at it
stop
that
you.
way.
Do what you need to do. Um,
hmm
but like typically that's how it works. Like in a womenist
shout out
relationship,
Americas.
yeah, in a womenist relationship, the man only provides like 2-3 things. That's all he really has to do is provide 2-3 things. Pick her up from work in her car that he gets to drive around any damn where. Um, give her some good D, and the third one may be you know, talk dirty to her sometimes. I don't know, something like that for all intents and purposes. I don't know what the third one is. Maybe it's mainly it's two. She provides you with a car to pick her up from work, which is one. So you got to pick her up from work. That's all you have to do.
Okay, let me ask this then.
Just give her some sex. That's it. That's typically how a womanist relationship pretty much works. Because I know I've been in a relationship with a woman who said to me, because I'm a very closed off person in a relationship. So like I don't always share. So women do get frustrated with me very often. So she said to me, and I quote, "Boy, you lucky that D's good because your ass be out on the street." Like, wait a minute, I live here. I pay for this shit. Same difference. Gonna be out on the street. No, I'm not gonna be out on the street. You're gonna be out on the street. You're lucky your D's good because you be out. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. I live here. I pay this rent. You'll be out on the street. It's like talking to me like you run this. This is my house. Like, fuck out of here with that bullshit. Like, and I've had women actually say that to me. Like,
yeah, I think it was like Corey was talking about makeup. I feel like if women because women kind of have facilitated me being able to buy stuff in the past. Like one time, I got to like buy my PS4 because I had saved money pretty much.
America's is a trip. Shout out to America's on that one.
My ex-girlfriend said I should be a gigolo. No thanks. Yeah, I mean that's a niche.
Basically, that's
Like
what
I
it is.
said,
That's basically
like I
what it
said,
is.
that's a niche.
That's basically what it is, Hidden MGTOW. You basically reversing the flow of funds. Basically, she's taking care of you instead of you taking care of her. The sad part about that, there are women that actually exist like that will take care of their men. However, the problem with that though is their men ain't loyal. Their men belong to the streets.
Whereas, like, okay,
so they end up in a
if
bad relationship because their men belong to the streets for all intents and purposes.
So okay, does it incel want a traditional relationship?
Well, an incel does want a traditional relationship. That's what an incel pretty much wants.
He literally wants a tradition. What you said traditional, not what I said traditional. What you said traditional.
He wants a relationship where an incel basically just wants a relationship. Period. He wants to be loved, and he wants to be loved, and he wants to be taken. He wants to not taken care of. He wants to support, and he wants all the stuff that normally goes into the trappings of a relationship. However, the problem with that is there's very rarely any relationships like that anymore. So therefore, he's gonna be hard pressed to find somebody like that, because he's gonna be looking very hard. That's the sad part. That's the sad part about incel life.
Well, okay, wait. So I understand that incel has a male connotation, but isn't that just like a more solid word to define anybody that's like that? Like women are.
No, women aren't like that because women can always go out and get dick for all intents and purposes, or be in a relationship.
But that's not what they want half the time.
Well, the sad part about that is no, because the problem with women,
dick half the time. That's
the problem with trying to wait, Lamb. The problem with trying to be a femcel is it doesn't fucking exist for two reasons. One, you're basically like the emo black pillars over there. You're kicking out of your coverage. You can't find somebody out of your coverage. You got to find somebody in your fucking coverage. That's the problem with femcels. That's why they don't fucking exist, because they can actually get into a relationship, but what they want is out of their league.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Just like the emo black pillars, what they want is out of their fucking league. Because at the end of the day, emo black pillars feel as though they deserve to have somebody good looking for all intents and purposes. And the same thing goes for femcels. This is why femcels don't actually exist, because they want somebody above them, or several rings above them for all intents and purposes. And that's the problem. That's why that's why femcels end up single and lonely, because they're femcels. And the sad part about that is any woman who's trying to kick out of her coverage or trying to have a list of demands and she don't meet any of them demands is going to be a femcel. Meaning you're kicking out of your coverage, and that's pretty much going to be the rest of your fucking life.
When I see a woman like ending a relationship, it's not for like a whole bunch of different reasons. It's usually just for one reason, and that reason is, or that the other guy or whatever is able to provide that one reason. That's the only reason that she leaves, and she just up and leaves. And that's like why it's like so devastating. I think it's like so flawless execution, because if a guy were to leave, it would be based on all these different reasons.
A nut.
He's a cold
nigga.
Breakfast in bed. Now we know that one of America's needs is breakfast in bed. Did you hear that, ladies?
Yeah, it's typically what it is. Because like at the end of the day, I've never been in a relationship where I always knew I had good D in a relationship, for the fact that the argument would always be, if I pissed her off, you're lucky you got good D, because this relationship would be over.
Will they cuss you out?
They'll cuss me out too if I don't. Like a good example of that is good example of that is the Cartel Princess. The one time I didn't come home that night because she was waiting at my house for me. So I came home the next day in the middle of the day after work. So when I walked in the door, she was talking all this shit, twisting her lips, just acting a straight fool. And I go to her, I swear to God, like, I'm gonna need you to knock it off. Like, just knock it off. No, you know what I want, and you play too damn much, Tico. You play too damn much, Tico. I got needs. Well, I got needs, damn it. That's what she said. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to calm down, because you're going to be on punishment. You're not going to get any. I swear to God, you're not going to get any. And she just got quiet. I'm sorry. And the sad part about that is when she gets angry at me, she really wants D. That's all she wants is D. And that's typically how the cartel princess acts towards me when she wants dick, for all intents and purposes. Like sometimes she'll ask for it when she wants to be all sensual, but sometimes when when she went a little too
No,
long without
it's
it.
pretty much most of the time it's probably be the opposite.
No, the sad part about that, when she goes too long without it, she tends to get very aggressive. Like legit, like I'm finna
Right,
tie a nigga up
hostile.
and I'm finna take this shit and he's gonna have to take it. He's gonna have to like it for all intents and purposes. That's typically how she gets. Like she's been known to actually literally jump on me. Like, fuck the kids, I'm getting this. Like because I know my daughter was like the one time, my daughter Ty was like, can you at least wait for us to go to bed, mom? Like, really? Really, mom? Wait for us to go to bed, please. And that's typically how it works when it comes to us. What's up, MGTOW Life? And the sad part about that is I know when she wants D because she gets very aggressive. She gets very angry when she wants D because she gets like she goes through D withdrawal for all intents and purposes. Um, that's typically how it works.
What is that?
Yeah, she goes through D withdrawal. Her favorite saying is she needs her penicillin. Penicillin. Penicillin.
Yeah, I'm
Penicillin.
looking at this meme.
She needs her penicillin.
I'm looking at this meme. You know, where it's like this chick yelling at this cat that's sitting in the seat. Like it's like kind of like this Karen chick yelling at the cat, and it's like I'm gonna tell my kids you were a grumpy cat, and the cat's like, it's funny because you shouldn't have kids.
Right? It's funny because you shouldn't have kids. Yeah, that's Grumpy Cat for you. I love Grumpy Cat.
And I mean, I've never seen a feminist with kids. I've seen a womanist with kids, but a
well, the
feminist
sad
with
part
kids,
about that is the cartel princess. I highly doubt she'll ever become a femcel. It's very hard for her to become a femcel, because who she is and how she can pretty much attract any damn body for all intents and purposes. That's why I don't know why the hell that heifer's with me, but she can attract anybody. But I'm still trying to figure out why this heifer's with me. Obviously, it's a D, and obviously, I provide a lot of other things that she needs in a man for all intents and purposes, I guess. But yeah,
and the thing about feminists that makes it hard to date is like, okay, they might have a unorthodox like interest. They might be into anime or whatever. It's not a big deal, but like they still like want to play like all hard to get and stuff, and it just doesn't make sense. Like they almost want you to roast them because they
don't like tryhards. I'm not a tryhard. I just be myself.
Yeah, they don't. Tryhards is like very beta. Like I think of superheroes as tryhards because they try to like do a bunch of shit. Unless a superhero.
Oh, he's talking about a try. Yeah, because I tend to be very cold and very distant and stuff like that. So that's typically my whole entire demeanor in a relationship. The closer we get, the more distant I become, or the more cold I become for all intents and purposes. So it's basically like one of them things where like you basically have to get past this. You got to basically get past this. If you get past this, then you're worth keeping type thing. Because that's typically the closer we get, the colder I get. So you have to basically be able to get past that initial thing or that whole entire segment of me for all intents and purposes. It's basically like a defense mechanism to shake a bitch, basically. Like, so you won't want to stick with me? Oh, you like me now? How about this? Type thing, if you know what I mean. So it's basically like a defense mechanism just so I can actually. So it's basically like if you're basically it's like testing a bitch for all intents and purposes because that's all I'm really doing is testing her. But at the same time, that's technically how my personality is. And if you can actually overcome my personality, then you actually would pass the test for all intents and purposes. But there's not too many women that can actually overcome my personality, which is very rare for a woman to actually overcome my personality and my temperament for all intents and purposes. Because you're not going to always get an I love you. You're not always going to get an I care.
Tico.
Huh?
It's funny because like so many people are like so direct with their titles and their thumbnails. Like Tommy Lahren is a feminist. Think before you sleep. Like he just literally says Tommy Lahren is a feminist. I love that. That's so funny.
Yeah, some people just said her feminism is slipping or something like that. Like Coach Greg Adams. Like, no, she's not a feminist. because she actually knows what she wants, unlike a feminist.
That's actually funny because that's a good point. Like there's a lot of content creators who are just so very passive, and they're like really persuasive, and they try to coerce people into a certain way of thinking, like, oh, maybe. And I've seen people even go as far as to manipulate the way that the live stream is set up to where they're like muting people, and they're like telling people, they're like giving them words of encouragement and like saying, well, you guys are smart, but you're not ready to handle what I got. And it's just like, it's funny to me that that's a thing.
Yeah, I'm shocked. Well, the sad part about that is like, because the fact of the matter is he's not an alpha, nor is he a sigma, so he's a beta that basically needs beta followers for all intents and purposes. He's an alpha in his own mind for all intents and purposes.
I know
he basically needs a bunch of followers to follow him.
Tico, I know Sherm's the same way. But like, if you were to have 1,000 followers, you would probably act the same as if it could for all intents and purposes, because I
would act the same no matter what. If I have 1,000, hell, every time I hit a threshold, nobody knows I hit a threshold, and I just basically keep it moving like I didn't hit a threshold.
But like, I never would. Imagine getting angry like on camera if you had that many. It just doesn't register to me the same way as if, because I get angry because I don't have a lot of subscribers. But like, I see a lot of people getting triggered.
Appreciate the subscribers you got, because the sad part about
that,
you'll start getting a lot of motherfuckers that's not conducive to your message. That'll be in your thing. Like I said, I'm happy with my little bit of subscribers that I actually got. My little bit of base subscribers that I actually got. I'm happy with them guys because they pretty much know me. They know how I'm going to react. They know they know what the type of videos I'm going to put out. So they're not shocked about any of the things I put out, and they're usually happy to see anything about any of my videos for all intents and purposes. For that reason, I'm happy with my subscriber count, my subscriber base. For that reason, because the sad part about that is I got a lot of people. I got some decent amount of people who sub to me that get that, as soon as I put up a video, it's like, oh, I don't want to listen to Tico no more, and they leave. Or I'll put up a video saying, something to the extent of, because I'm not bashing nobody, they don't want to follow me. Or like, they'll basically follow me because somebody says some shit about me. So they all come over to my channel to see if I'm going to say some shit, and I don't say anything, so they all leave me. You see what I'm saying? So there's fair weather people, and there's troll people, and then there's people that basically are sitting there to see if you're going to talk about somebody for all intents and purposes. And when you don't, they all get mad and they leave because you're not joining in on the drama. This is all usually I can tell when somebody actually is talking shit on me, because my numbers will jump ridiculously.
I look at it just like women. Like, it's like if you gotta really deal with one and fuss with one, it's not worth it to have her around.
Oh, it's definitely not. It's not worth any damn thing, especially if you got to train one.
Because to me, training from a man to a woman seems like I'm actually trying to apply for different roles that I don't. It's if I already made the decision. It'd be like letting an employer know after the fact when you get hired that you have all these other special needs. You know what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of times it's a role that we feel that fills a need for us. So if we already get one from a woman already initially, that's great. That's great. And it's like if I'm friends with a woman initially, that's awesome. That's good. If I'm romantic or casual with a woman, like initially, that's awesome too. But I'm not going to try to move one of those to a different field, over the course of time. It just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me to try to do that and get on both sides or multiple angles, working in on somebody. I'm just not that controlling of a person in general.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like control.
Yeah,
but I just don't. I'm just not a controlling type of.
I'm not a control freak. I'm basically a go with the flow type person, and I tend to not really try to grab for control too much. I basically am a go with the flow kind of person, and the sad part about that is, even though I'm not a control freak, people would think I am because
it's not good.
Just my whole entire demeanor, and how I carry myself. People think I'm a control freak. Like, my favorite one is a woman called me an asshole the other day. She goes, but that's a good thing that you're an asshole. I go, then why I got to be an asshole if that's a good thing? That's not an asshole anymore. That should be called something else, obviously. But the sad part about that is, apparently, apparently I'm more attractive to women when I'm being an asshole, or when they would perceive me as an asshole for all intents and purposes, which is actually kind of weird.
Well, it's just the same way that she would never approach one of us and say, "Hey, would you like to be in a traditional relationship with me?"
No, you didn't, yeah.
Yeah, Pokemon is gone. Now I teach you about the economy. Wow, Leafy is on a crazy. He's on a crazy.
Yeah, Leafy's on a roll. Leafy be on some.
rabbit hole.
Yeah, Leafy is
Him
on
and
some
I
shit.
should. Him and I should be on like a live stream. I want to invite him to a live stream and just talk to
I
him.
highly doubt Leafy's coming to a live
He's
stream.
like,
That'd
nigga,
be funny if he did,
I'm
though. I would love to
busy.
do a live stream with Leafy, though. He cracks me up.
I'd be like,
Leafy,
yo,
Leafy's a
red
trip.
pill.
He's like the most chillest savage person I've ever met. Like Leafy, you
Totally.
can't even call Leafy savage. He's just chill. He's like a chill savage.
He is.
He's very chill savage.
I honestly, I wonder if some of these like Evo channels or like weird science channels and like graphic design channels. I wonder what they got if they would join if they would like to talk on a live stream and stuff, because they got a lot of interesting takes on all.
No, he didn't. There's some hoes in this house. I'm about to go play that song before I go to sleep. There's some hoes in this house. There's some hoes in this house. Something like that.
No,
I like that song. There's some hoes in this house.
Doing some referencing.
Well, the sad part about that is,
yeah. I don't like to do references because I noticed that
I would never consider myself an asshole, but a lot of people consider me an asshole. A lot of people consider me an asshole. I would say I'm a dick. I would say I'm a dick with extraordinary charisma for all intents and purposes. Because the reason why I call myself a dick, because I always say, even when I'm being a dick, I'm a likable person for all intents and purposes. It's typically why I call myself a dick.
I get so pissed whenever I have to deal with somebody that is very passive with the way that they're communicating to me. Like it's like almost like you have to be a dick in order to keep the conversation going.
I tend to don't let them approach me. I'll be like, bye. I say bye. It's like, fuck that shit. I ain't dealing with this shit today. Fuck you in that shit. I typically just say bye to them. I was like, bye. Don't even come over here. Just bye. Not today. Or I'll say, not today.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a recurring process. You know, it's like you never get it. I'm glad that you don't experience it a lot, but it's just like constantly having to go back and forth with somebody. It can get really exhausting after a while, and that's why I think it's
a mess.
Kind of
allegedly.
I think
what you trying to say, Hidden?
Well, Tico, it can kind of be like troublesome to sort of grab for power in this way, where you're like super
ridiculous.
We're trying to persuade somebody to go your way. It's kind of like, to me, with the like when I was playing that Kingdom Come game I've been streaming. It's like for women, it's completely different. The way that they think, the way they think, they're never really single. They're always like betrothed to somebody. I literally saw two girls. They were talking to each other about the main character that you play as in the story, Heinrich.
We building the case right now. Okay, you and Hidden MGTOW are building the case. Obviously, go ahead. Yeah, we're tripping together. Apparently, on me or you or both of us.
All these allegations.
Yeah, I know. That's what you're saying. All these allegations. Oh, goodness gracious. Go ahead. Continue what you were saying about the girls talking about the Kingdom Come.
What was I talking about?
Girls talking about the main character from Kingdom Come.
Oh yeah, well they were just like, it's funny because when you're a guy, you're like playing the game thinking I'm advancing my skills, but the girls look at you as like, this dude's just a fucking buffoon. They're like, he's practicing. He's in the lamb's enclosure, swinging a sword. He's dreaming of being a knight one day, and they're like, well, that's great, so he can actually protect you from all the stuff out there. And they're just you're just like a doing to them. You fill a role, and that's not bad. I mean, it's not to say that they're like dumb or evil for doing that. That's just the way that they are. But it's funny the way that it's like contextualized. It's like
Jury
it's
appears.
like well, I mean, it's much more fun to just be laid back and be casual,
Yeah, it definitely
be
is.
likable, like be yourself, be anything but someone who's trying to like work their way up the ladder. Because at the end of the day, the person that you're getting when you
The
act that
witnesses are
way,
pilling up, really.
it's
They
almost
are
like
a
a shot in
trip.
the dark. It's almost like a shot in the dark.
12 dicks in a jury box. They are crazy out there.
I wonder about that though. Like if you had a jury, like what if they were an all MGTOW jury? I wonder how the verdict would go in most cases. Like I wonder how it
I'm
would
sure
actually.
we can find
It's
12
almost like the
alleged
Praetorians.
assholes. Y'all are a trip
12
together.
assholes. That's
12
right.
alleged assholes. Alleged assholes.
They
Y'all
got
two are
something
crazy
going.
tonight.
We should maybe develop. I feel like we already have 3 or 4
Well,
already.
no, because the sad part about that, if we were to put MGTOWs on a stand, it depends on which way the wind's blowing. If I'm up for trial, because 9 times out of 10, I'll probably be found guilty. It don't matter what the fuck the shit is. So, like, fuck it, he's guilty.
Well, that's just the way the story. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Like I'm not
Yeah.
looking to prove anybody wrong in that verdict because that's the way that it looks to a majority of like to a group of people. It's all like, and that I don't think anybody should have to be responsible for one person's entire life story unless they're being paid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's puzzling to me the way some people will take pride in like emotionally blackmailing someone in their life and use that as a way to associate, like in language where we say I'm a mother of a son of a father of a thing. They use those words in order to emotionally blackmail. It's kind of interesting. It's not traditional. It's more like just I don't know, go with the flow in a whole different way. Like go with the flow as in I'm completely non-agent in what
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing.
You're going to run into stuff
And
like that, sadly. You're going to run into stuff like that. It's
true,
sad, but
true.
that tends to happen a lot when it comes to people. And it's going to happen. And the sad part
Like
about that
multiple
is
people.
it's all about how you deal with it for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. I agree. It's gonna happen. Somebody told me it was like men are just gonna do what they're gonna do, so you can't make fun of them. And I was like, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that, but I understand that's how you grew up. Like I don't
Yeah.
agree with that. But like it resonates with me, but not in the same way. And I think it might have to do with my environment, and that's kind of used a shaming tactic, like, oh, if you're comfortable being a MGTOW, then you're just not trying hard enough to not be comfortable being a MGTOW. And
Well,
like that's
there's
why
more than just that's 3 of y'all, but I'm in here because I'm actually in the actual thing. I highly doubt Yam is actually watching the comment section because he's not really reading it until I actually put it up on the screen. So there's 2 extra people
not
in there,
right
obviously.
now. I was earlier, but I'm not right now. I was commenting earlier, but now I'm not in it.
I highly doubt it. What do you say, my baby mama? He's retarded as hell.
Now I'm back.
My
I'm
baby
in
mama.
here.
My baby mama. My baby mama. Oh goodness gracious, y'all are a trip. Now he's here, bitch. He's a trip.
Well, I you know what? I actually feel bad when I say baby mama, and I don't
You
have
still say
a baby
my
mama.
baby mama.
I don't. I guess I feel a little bit of hesitation when I say baby mama. Cause I've said in my videos I don't like that term because I don't have a baby mama, so it feels like I'm using a simulacra or something like that.
Oh
Like
good lord, this guy.
everything I say comes from like a genuine place. Like I learned the word somewhere, but I don't necessarily with baby mama. that's drama. With baby mama, I can't say that word quite so often. I can't really talk about that stuff either.
Yeah, it is what
because
it is. You live and you learn.
Apply.
You live and you learn. There's only but so much you can do.
I'm okay with that. I really am.
What we got? What the topic we got left? We got single mothers, and we got
that's
we already handled Manosphere drama when we talked about
yeah. No one mentioned anything.
Traditionalism and George Floyd, and we pretty much handled bitch stink during that time too. So we pretty much clumped that all together. Unless you want to talk about bitch stink separately, I don't care. Baby yams. Baby yams. So we got single mothers, and we got. I already talked about Manosphere drama when I said I got thrown under the bus. Yeah. We pretty much covered bitch stink when everybody jumped on the bandwagon and did that one video. So that's covered. So I also got a single mothers left. And we could probably add something else from the comment section if we want to.
If anybody wants to jump in.
But we got single mothers left. Because they keep on saying baby mamas.
Baby mamas.
But that's already one of the topics, so that topic doesn't count for requests. Oh God.
Hold on. Like, let them think of something. I'm just gonna be right.
Oh, good Lord, this guy. This guy. Switch. Don't take no mess from nobody. Switch. If she act up, just leave her alone. Switch. Don't take no mess from nobody. Switch. If she act up, just leave her alone. I don't answer to no one till I feel I'm ready to. I'm gonna ask y'all a question while Baron Yam is gone. Which 2 days a week do y'all want us to do Baron and Sadist? Pick 2 days and we'll do it.
I'm back.
What the hell? You act like you went some damn where. Which 2 days would you like us to do Baron Sadist on?
2 days a week? Damn, now you're really.
We should do it like 9 days a week. Stop playing.
No.
That's the time we would do 2 times in 1 day. Mega Man in the house. So, which 2 days would you like us to do Baron and Sadist, or would you like us to only do it 1 day a week? Musical cocks. We're playing musical cocks. They're retarded as hell to take the street. But yeah, we'll talk about baby mamas, and I'll let y'all decide on if y'all want 2 days or 1 day of Baron and Sadist a week. Then pick the days that you would like us to do them, preferably.
Let's do Wednesday and Friday night.
Well, obviously it's Wednesday now, but Wednesday. So okay, we got Wednesday. Well, Tuesday and a Wednesday. I'm guessing. Yeah. So Wednesday.
It'll just be like a double this week.
And so Wednesday morning and Wednesday night. What the hell are you trying to get us to do? You trying to kill us?
Wednesday night.
Wednesday nights. Okay. Just Wednesday nights. Okay.
Yeah, we could do it tonight. Or wait, no, it's not 12 yet. No, but we could do it. Well, it is technically Wednesday where you're at.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. But like, we probably end up doing it tomorrow night for all intents and purposes. Is what he's saying. So we'll pretty much do Baron and Sadist on Wednesday nights. It sounded like yay.
Yay.
At least we only have to do it one time a week.
This was definitely a special occasion. That's why it's like a Tuesday night thing.
What do you say? Would you say you want me to bring back Friday Night Blaze again? Oh my God.
We can't. It's not you saw you can like summon something out of Mother Nature that has that much of a magnitude all the time. That's like a once in a lifetime occasion. You only get that about once a step.
We would have to literally have a topic that pisses us off for me to bring back Friday Night Blaze.
Yeah,
that's only Friday Night Blaze would ever actually work.
That was like some Emerald tablets.
Emerald tablet
level shit.
Yeah, it was.
It was under the cold flower of life that live stream was brought about. Oh, Corey Steele puts firing shots in the chat.
Because what the shootout at the AK Corral was just a random thing that I did on Sunday. Was it Sunday? I think it was Sunday. Was it Saturday or Sunday I did that? I can't remember. It was just a random thing I did that day, but
but the reason why the reason why I post a lot of gaming stuff is because I like to have
true
space
story,
in between
true story,
all the
Corey
shit.
Steele. I've noticed that with a lot of men. The dumber you are, the more baby mamas you have. Most definitely. What's up, Maga Man? Friday night we blaze. Friday night we shoot them up. Like, I'm trying to come up with like random names for live streams now because I don't want you to. I want to catch people off guard because I know everybody likes table flip. Table flip is very popular, so I try to like come up with random names for when we do straight live streams out of nowhere for all intents and purposes. That actually does sound like a good name for a live stream though. I don't think I can always be that angry though. Oh shit. But yeah.
Oh, why?
Huh?
Oh, I'm still in it. Okay, I thought I exited out.
Oh, you're fine. You're still here.
Corey Steele in the chat. He's like, I love pretty girls. They make me that song. You know that song?
Oh no, I don't know that song.
This is a stupid like 80s or 70s song. Or
I love pretty girls.
It's like a meme song. There's so many meme songs. I like classical meme songs more than I like the more newer meme songs. Except Hose Mad. Hose Mad is definitely up there. Definitely up there.
Only reason why I like Hose Mad is because Dennis
used it. That's the only reason why I like it. It's not a good song. Hose Mad. I'm
guessing Book of Love sings that song. No, Pretty Boys, Pretty Girls. No, that's a different one. I love Pretty Girls.
I don't know which one it was. There's a bunch of songs that say that. So.
Oh damn!
I'm
not looking it up no more. Then fine. Fuck that shit. That's too much work.
Okay, so it goes back to a thing that I was thinking about back when I was in college, when I was like getting really philosophical and shit. But it was like, I don't really want to be in a brotherhood I don't really want to do a lot of shit with I have to make a bunch of like really deep decisions about people and stuff. Like that tends to be what the whole brotherhood thing is about. And it's like I don't necessarily want to be friends with motherfuckers like that in a way where I have to be responsible for what they do. Like I literally have to tell them what to do, and it could get that kind of stuff could get exhausting. So it's like I got to change what I want to fill that niche. Like for all intents and purposes with me. Like for me, when I game and stuff, I kind of like come up with that kind of stuff on my I kind of like try to imagine that stuff in the game. But I would never do that stuff in real life with somebody. That just, to me, it's not.
Shit, I would. Tenable. It depends on what it is, though. If it depends on how realistic it is, I would do it in real life. Like, yeah, that's not realistic. I'm not ever going to ever pull that one off. It's like RPG Rocket. I would do it to somebody in real life, most definitely.
Well, that's your thing. Well, you actually have done that. I wish I could do that. That would be fucking fun.
I would actually do that to somebody in real life. Car, human being, house.
I feel like I try to do that with what I say sometimes because I don't have a weapon. I choose not to have like a weapon or anything else. But I feel like I'll try to say that, be like that. Now it's like hard. It's hard though because every time like a woman will say something that's kind of like shit testing me, I will say something like "excuse me," and then I'll get really hard.
I'm a nigga.
And it kind of comes out of nowhere, and then they're like, "Well, you didn't need to be so mean about it." Like I know I fucked up, but come on, that's not fair. Hey,
Throw
man.
Oprah on a barbecue wrap. Oh, network. These three are nuts in the fucking comment section today.
This is Drake. This is the this painting is called The Ambassadors by Hans Holbein. It was painted in 1533, and if you can see in the lower center portion of the painting is a distorted skull, a memento mori, a recognition that the things that are on the table that the ambassadors have gotten in their life is just a reflection of that smudge, that thing that you can't really even recognize unless you're standing. It's a huge painting. Like it's like almost like a story. I think it's almost like a story high, or no, not a story high, but it's pretty big. So you have to go up on a balcony or something, or go at an angle to actually see that skull as it's written, because it's kind of like one of those street paintings where it's like it looks jaded, but then if you're from a certain angle you can see it. And I think that's a good a friend of mine really likes it, so I did it to honor him. Shout out him. But it's kind of like a recognition, like, oh, you know what? It doesn't really matter what you like accomplish in this lifetime. It's just because you have to remember there's like
I think that is before the Magna Carta. I think it is before the Magna Carta painting, or was it
this one?
Yeah.
Is that before the fucking Magna Carta? What does that mean?
The Magna Carta.
That has this painting happened before that? I don't think so.
I think so.
It's 15. Oh, what is the Magna Carta? I thought it was like a I thought it was
not
like
Jay-Z.
Classical era.
Before Jay-Z.
Bye, Mega Man. Be careful. Keep that pepper ball close to you.
No, that's after the Magna Carta. The Magna Carta was done in, I think, 1215.
I was gonna say it just sounds more like something that is developed with much less technology. The reason why the Ambassadors is cool is because it's like during like the religious enlightenment of Germany. And so it's weird that the Germans, like during that religious time where they were coming up with Protestantism and stuff, where they thought about these kind of things. Like they thought about, you're going to die, so what is the use of having all this flashy, lavish stuff? That's what they were thinking back then. And then if you fast forward to like World War II, it's like, wait, what happened to all that? It's like, you're like, wait, you guys fucked up. It's pretty much what it is. And it's kind of like, there was like a lot of, I'm trying to get these books. It's the one that I mentioned, the Baudrillard simulation book, and then the other one that I want to get is the Theodore Adorno, because I've never read a single book by Theodore Adorno. That'd be cool to actually read.
You should definitely get Sun Tzu and the 48 Laws of Power. Should be a good read for you.
Yeah, I'll get that.
He ain't getting it. He just said that just to be. He said that just You're still not getting them books. I told you to get those books a long time ago. Oh, shit.
It's like, I'm like, what's the use?
You're not getting that book. Just let it go. You'll never get those books. I've mentioned that to you multiple times.
Let other people read them. Reading is bad. Reading is bad.
Reading is not bad. Reading is good for you. Reading is fundamental.
Learning to read is fundamental.
No, reading is actually fundamental because it's fun to your mental when you read versus watching television because it tells lies through vision.
Okay, I agree with that.
Reading is fun to your mental status, your mental status. Dang. Ugh.
Gaming.
Trust me, you actually enjoy when you actually enjoy it more when you actually read.
That's true.
Because the sad part about that learning to read, because
there's not a
learning
lot
to
of
read is
enjoyment in
actually
in
very
anything
frustrating when you're
anymore.
first learning to read. That's very frustrating. You're probably going to throw a book several times.
Not
You're
actually
probably going to try
fun.
to rip out pages and shit like that so you would read less pages. I've done that once or twice. Like, fuck this book. It's like, my book only has 7 pages.
There's so many books I got that like there. So the spine's good, but then like some of the adhesive in certain sections were bad. So I end up getting like this weird like small paperback book of a section of the actual book, and I'm like, okay, now I gotta read this now. Like it's just like a slotted out like piece of the book that doesn't fit in. Well, like somebody's like wedged in and returned. It's like, no, we should probably just get a different book. That book's not
Probably. That's probably best to get a different book.
I would rather just buy a different book. But yeah, I mean, maybe that's what people should do is like invest in like a library. Get a library.
True.
48 Laws of Power. 48 Laws of Power. A lot of people have told me to get 48 Laws of Power. You're not the first one.
Actually, I'm the first one. Because the first time I told you, you told me I was the first one to say get. You told me I was the first person that told you to get that book.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, just it's
I remember that conversation.
Personally, you did.
You're the first person that told me to get that book.
A lot of people like prop that book up. They're always like, read that. A lot of people do. It's a good. It's yeah. I can't say anything about it, obviously.
I got a new watermark now. Cartel Princess.
That's the watermark.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm blind. I'm like straining to see it.
It's right above your head, literally.
Pretty much. Oh, hi. Oh, wait. Tell the cartel princess I said hi. Now you don't have to do that. Now you don't have to do that. You just say hi right there. Boom.
Yeah, she's right there in the corner. Like, we're for real? Fuck, we'll retell to win next time. You can say hi to her. She's right there in the corner. She's my new watermark. Oh, shit.
I mean, what else is there to talk about, really?
Sucks.
I don't.
Well, we're supposed to be talking about baby mamas, but we've been dodging the whole entire topic the whole entire time.
Oh, you're gonna act like I consciously dodged it. I see
you dodged the shit out of that. You started talking about paintings. You started talking about other shit because everything.
He said I was Francis Bacon. How does Francis Bacon have? What does Francis Bacon have to do with single mothers? I call him witness to the stand.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with baby. It has nothing to do with baby mamas. You've been dodging the question the whole entire time.
I know you do. Give me a break.
Goodness.
Well, the thing that I was corrected on a while or recently was that I thought that single mothers was only a problem in America, like a real problem.
Well, the sad part about that, single mothers are, for all intents and purposes, single mothers are a problem in first world countries or countries who have a welfare program, is the best way to put it. Not too many third world countries actually have a welfare program.
Norway? Norway?
Trust me, they're a problem. They're a drain on the economy, no matter how you look at it. I mean, in any country, any first world country or any country that has a welfare program,
what about
where women
Canada?
can pretty much take out of it and then pay into it, they're a problem. They're a net problem for all intents and purposes. Most third world countries don't have a welfare program. Like a good example, most Latin American countries, the woman either lives with lives at home with her parents until she finds another man or finds a man, or she lives off on her own and she has a really, really good stable job for all intents and purposes. But most of them tend to stay at home with their parents. It's typically how that works. So you can actually have 2 generations, 3 generations of family members living under one roof in Latin America for all intents and purposes if the house is big enough. And the sad part about that, the welfare program, there's really no welfare program in Latin America. The only upside to a lot of the places in Latin America is healthcare. You really don't have to pay for it.
What about like so?
But the sad part about that is, even if you don't have healthcare in Latin, if you don't have healthcare in like Costa Rica, You can actually literally write a check for all the shit.
Yeah.
Like any type of IVs are anywhere between $10 to $30 for an IV.
So, like, women always been a drain on the economy, or has it been a point where?
Oh yeah, they've always been a drain on the economy, most definitely. I mean, they weren't always a drain on the economy for a certain time. They weren't, but after a certain time, well, they were always a drain. Never mind, I take that back. They were always a drain on the economy in various ways, shapes, or forms, for all intents and purposes. Because a good example of that is way back when they first started settling in the Americas, they were a drain on the economy. How? Because a lot of them used to run away to the Native American settlements to live with Native Americans. So now you got to go send a search party out to go find them and bring them back. Drain on the economy. That's how.
Yeah, I mean, it's really like I feel like it's really into the later phases of a civilization where you start to like blame women for being a drain on the economy or whatever.
Well, and the sad part about that, they've always been a drain on the economy. But the sad part about it is now in this day and age, it's gotten so ridiculously OP bad that it's literally visible now. Like a good example of that is I went to the store the other day. This bitch had a Coach wallet with a Coach purse, matching Coach purse. The Coach purse and the Coach wallet both will set you back a grand total of probably like a little over, I would say a little over $5,000, $7,000 for both of them. And this bitch pulled out an EBT card.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I see that a lot.
Yeah, that's the problem that I'm having.
Yeah, with the mask.
I mean, or my favorite ones are the bitches that roll up in an Escalade, but they got EBT.
Cadillac, and they got kids in the back. They got a kid in the front seat who looks grown, and they got a kid in the back. They got kids in the back seat. It's just like it's a disaster, man. They got makeup underneath the mask. It's like what? Well, I don't understand. Please explain this to me.
Yeah, so they've always been a drain for all intents and purposes. The sad part about that is nowadays, because it's so massive, it's more visible. It's kind of like feminism. Feminism is a blessing for the fact that it puts all women's shit on blast.
It's exposure. It's good.
It's good exposure. Because the welfare state's so fucking big and so massive now, it puts everything on blast, unlike what it used to back in the day. Because back in the day, you can hide it. Now you can't really hide it, if you know what I mean. Because the sad part about that, if you're a single dad, you're less likely to be accepted by the welfare state than you are if you're a single mother.
Yeah, I mean, you're not even trying to be. You would apply to just in the hope, but your expectations are severely lower.
Yeah, your expectations are lower if you're a single dad. If you want to apply for welfare, and you basically you walk up to the office and you look at it and go, you know what, I might as well not even try. You just walk away because you've heard so many damn stories of men being denied. It's like, you know what, I might as well just not.
The George Floyd thing. It's like you have confirmation bias. You know, it's like you have so much confirmation bias because it's like it. And even though it is harder to do those things, and it's most likely that the fact that you'll fail. I mean, the only thing that you can hope for is that you get some help in doing that. And I mean, it's hard for a guy to ask for help doing that, I think.
It definitely is. I agree.
I mean, I agree. And like why I choose to, I guess, like talk crap is not because of any of that. Like I don't see them as part of the argument at all. It's more just women. You know, it's like I'm talking about somebody's daughter or somebody's mom or somebody's. I don't give a fuck about that.
Well, the reason
it's more like that because that's not even something that I mean.
Well, believe it or not, Americas, most of that 6 trillion actually went to the fact that, you know, all these governors are closing down their fucking states.
Right.
So they got to pay more into unemployment now. So the unemployment check that everybody in the United States is getting, that extra $600.
Yeah. They're not.
That actually ties into that whole entire 6 trillion.
Yeah. They're just punting that. They're punting the ceiling. They're punting the ceiling. Like they could deal with the ceiling right now, but that's just a common tactic.
Well, no, the sad part about it now is we're actually over the ceiling. Like, there's no way to deal with the ceiling. Besides, we got to pay back this $6 trillion and we'll be under the ceiling again for all intents and purposes. The sad part about that is now we're over to the actual ceiling because our debt actually exceeds our GDP now.
Was that
our total GDP?
Was that? Oh yeah, that wasn't the same when we did it with Clinton, in like the Clinton administration back in the day, or Judge H.W. Bush, or like way back.
Well, H.W. Bush basically. The sad part about that, because
it's like a constant
because
thing
Clinton actually made a surplus. Clinton made a surplus when George H.W. got into office. He took that surplus, made it disappear, and put us in a deficit. Okay, cool. Obama got in office. He put us even more of a deficit. Now Trump's in office. He's pretty much inherited both those deficits. And the sad part about that, they're still spending on the books that he hasn't got rid of yet because he probably doesn't know anything about half that spending. But the sad part about that's $6 trillion right there alone is
just from
basically because the governors of each of the states are keeping the states closed for quote unquote essential workers. So people can't go back to work. Think about that. 42 million people are out of work. So 42 million people times that 600 every 2 weeks. That's a shit ton of money. 42 million people times 600 is a shit ton of money. Then on top of that, you got people still living off the welfare state. Then you got other things going on with the people paying out for various other things and stuff like that. So it's like it got real ridiculous. It really got real ridiculous. Well, it's not the fact that they're kicking a can down the road. It's more or less the fact that Trump is trying to deal with this whole entire mess by giving them $600, and he doesn't really want to give them more money for the fact that he doesn't want to make them dependent on the government. However, the Democrats want to give them more money so they can all be reliant on the Democrats. But $600 is enough. Trust me. $600 every 2 weeks is enough. That's matter of fact, I'm willing to go above and beyond and say that's way more than enough because half these bitches don't even make $1,200. Half these bitches don't even make $1,200 a pay, let alone a month. Let's just keep it 100. So $600 is way more than enough. That's exceedingly enough. Like, you don't need that shit. You really don't. And the sad part about that is that's actually being very generous, whereas the Democrats are trying to add make it 1,000 or something like that, make it 800 or 1,000. They're trying to make it 1,000 a week, and they're trying to actually extend it to like next year, the middle of next year, for all intents and purposes. So they're trying to create a thing where people are more happy with them because they gave them $1,000 basically. So they're basically trying to use the Andrew Yang thing for every 2 days, for 2 times a week, for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, that's how I would feel about it too. It's like, oh, it's free money. But then, I just...
You don't have to do any work now because the government's just printing out money. But the problem is, though, who's actually paying this money if all these people are out of job to actually make this work is the question. You have to ask yourself, who's actually paying into this to be able to pay everybody out of this? Yeah, and it's ridiculous.
I wonder if people realize that they are paying into it with just their way that they're letting the economy just fall apart.
Well, the sad part about that, it's not the fact that they're letting the economy fall apart, because the sad part about that is, believe it or not, Trump actually put added less debt to the deficit than all the other sitting presidents, for all intents and purposes. He actually added less debt to the actual debts. He actually added less than all the rest of the presidents sitting. All the rest of the sitting presidents who got us in this mess in the first place. Which is actually pretty interesting once you think about it.
That is interesting.
Because Obama added the most to it. George W.H. Bush, whatever the fuck you say his name. Second Bush added the second most to it. So it is what it is.
I just don't see the like. There's a problem with the amount of effort people put right now into certain things. it makes me think about the painting, like with the smudge. Like I think about this painting a lot because it's just like I don't know what there is left to really grasp for, if not like something that's going to give me a false sense of power or a false sense of security or a false sense of companionship. Because because to me there's just so many different ways that it can be that top heavy dynamic, or like that dynamic that's gonna not benefit you in the long run. And it's just what I mean. I feel like I can switch
Oh, W. That's what I meant.
between that.
Say W.
I feel like I can switch between being like that and being like a little bit more optimistic. But in this environment, it just doesn't register to me.
Facts. And facts. Sorry about that.
I wonder. No, it's okay. Forget it. But it's just like think about it. Somebody mentioned something in the live stream where they're like they thought that the movies were a way to cover for for losing money or something like that. Like the Marvel movies and all the feminist movies and stuff. Or like I think it was Double. I don't know who Kevin was that Double I said that, or I don't know who it was, but that was genius.
That was genius, definitely.
I don't know if it was like I don't know who it was, but that's a good move. That would be a good play. That would be definitely well played if that's what they did. Just to get all that, just to like manage all that money. Inside job, because that gets people thinking.
Just call him G Dub. Call him G Dub.
G Dub.
Oh God, that's funny.
You might as well call him G Dub because he was pretty much a gangster.
Yeah, in the famous words of Snoop Dogg, he's a guerrilla gangster. Apparently,
he was a straight up thug.
He was the guerrilla gangster. According to Snoop, Clinton was a chill gangster.
Mm-hmm. But is a gangster different than a hustler?
It depends. You could be a gangster and a hustler, but you don't always have to be a hustler and be a gangster. Like not all gangsters are good at, hustling and making money and stuff like that, or hustling people out of money. But all hustlers are good at doing that, but not all hustlers are gangsters. However, hustlers do sometimes get employed by gangsters, or sometimes are protected by gangsters, but there are very few gangsters that can actually do hustle.
They're just different skill sets.
Yeah, there are different skill sets for all intents and purposes. Yeah. It's got to be something. Hustling's got to be something that you're good at. Like I've always said, I can sell salt. I can sell salt to a slug.
Well, okay. So wait. So is Mr. Goodbar a hustler or a gangster or both?
Mr. Goodbar? He's a fucking candy bar person. He's a candy bar salesman.
Oh, I see.
He's basically he hustled to make his business to where it is. So he'd be a hustler. Most businessmen who have something to sell, who make it big, are hustlers.
Hustlers, straight up. Yeah, they don't even like. They don't even have to be. Yeah, they don't have to be gangster at all. You just be a straight up hustler at all. You get your way. You get your money. Get your money.
There's very few businessmen that are gangster for all intents and purposes. Is 50 a gangster or a hustler? I would say 50.
What is he talking about, by the way? Is he talking about something about the governmental or something?
What are you talking about, 50 Cent?
50 Cent?
He's talking about 50 Cent. 50 a gangster or a hustler? Which one are you talking about? The one that I got highlighted?
The one you got highlighted?
Or the one I got highlighted? That's something else totally different.
Yeah, I have no idea. Oh, longer than a week because they had to do it on the hush hush.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But 50 Cent, I would say 50 Cent is a hustler.
Is a dick slanger, America said. Dick slanger.
I would say 50 Cent is a hustler, most definitely a hustler. Um, I wouldn't really refer to 50 Cent as a gangster. I would refer to him as a hustler.
Ooh.
He's in a shooting victim, pretty much. Yeah, true story. In a shooting victim. 50 Cent is a shooting victim. Yeah, he is.
He got riddled, and
Yeah, he did.
it wasn't by cops though. Well, did he get shot by a cop?
He got shot by a another gangbanger, a rival
Gangbanger.
gangbanger, or somebody
Yeah.
that hated his ass, basically.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but you would call that different than being shot by like somebody who is just more aggressive. They're not exactly like they might have racist biases, but we already debunked that.
Well, no, the sad part about that, everybody has racist biases. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter who you are. Everybody has a bias, or two, or three, or four, or five. Some people just have
Well,
more than
yeah.
others.
Well, I think that's
I'm
why
not gonna
people
I'm
actually
not gonna call
like the
people racist for
gangster.
the fact that
They like the
if I
gangster.
call somebody racist, it's gonna water down the whole entire term. So I'm gonna just say they have a racial bias. They basically everybody has a bias for all intents and purposes. It doesn't matter who you are. You have a bias. Everybody has one. Don't feel bad about it. Embrace it, and try to notice it when you actually participate in it. For all intents and purposes, all I got to say about it, because everybody has a bias at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, man. There has been a time like in the server where somebody just starts going off the handle with a bunch of like racist stuff. I'm like, wow, that's pretty. That's crazy.
No, that person's racist. That's racist.
That,
That's a clear sign of racism. But the sad part about that is these white women running around here, these SJW white women are running around here so hard trying to water down what racism actually means, so nobody can use it against them. That's the only reason why they're doing it. They're trying to water it down to the fact where nobody wants to listen to it.
that's
So
actually
when a person
yeah.
actually ends up in a racist
Mhm.
situation, people aren't going to listen to the person because they're going to think he's an SJW.
That's the
Until they
exact
actually see some
example.
shit
That's
like
the
they're
first
gonna be, oh,
example I think
that's
of.
racist. They're gonna be that little boy,
Yeah.
that's racist.
So you can't tell me that a white person, a white guy, like making a joke about a black guy at work is racist when there's like there's like a different example of racism that goes un goes un goes
Yeah,
unnoticed because
yeah. The sad
the
part
two
about that is
loudest guys at work talking making jokes and shit. That's not even the worst part about racism.
here's my thoughts on here's my thoughts on racism when it comes to racism. Racism isn't somebody made a joke. No, that's not racism. That's just a fucking joke. Get over it. Or racism isn't somebody saying the N word while they were rapping to a song. That's not racism either. Let it go. Get over it. Racism is a white lady trying to call the cops on a black guy for being in a park. That's racism. Racism is hanging a black guy from a tree. That's racism. Racism is if a bunch of black guys beat up a white guy for being in a black neighborhood. That's racism. Um, Same thing goes for any other culture for all intents purposes. If you do that to somebody for all intents purposes, you're racist for all intents purposes. Now, if you make a joke about it, or if you're rapping to a rap song, that's fine by my books.
That's
I
not
really don't
racist.
give a fuck. That's not racist. That's just dumb luck, or you just having fun, or you cracking jokes. It's basically you're a comedian. Okay, let's let it go. So that's my thoughts on the whole entire racism thing. If it ain't got nobody being beat up and drugged through some shit, or lynched, or hung, or somebody getting the cops called on them for being a certain color, or a certain ethnic group, or looking a certain way, then it's not racism. If it ain't none of that stuff that I just said, if the person's not being lynched, hung, drugged, and or called the N word, or the Chinese version of it, or any other thing like that, if no racial terms were being used in a derogatory term, it's not racist. If as long as no racist terms are being used derogatory.
That's racist. Yeah, because I make a lot of jokes, but I would never be like sit back and be like, I'm not racist when I really am. I just
Yeah, because
would
the sad
realize
part
it's
about
not.
that, the most racist person in the room is usually the person that says, I'm not racist, I got black friends. Bitch, you're racist. You're racist. Or my favorite one was this one white guy that said this shit to me. I kid you not. He goes, I'm not racist, but I cannot tell you a story. I'm not racist, but can I tell you a story? And my friend Tim goes, he's probably racist. And he's white. He says he's probably racist. So this guy went on to tell me about a story about the KKK having a meeting at in in a cemetery in is it Gettysburg? or Morgantown. I forget where, but apparently they have a meeting. They meet every Sunday in a cemetery for all intents and purposes. He wanted to tell me that story, and he looked at me like I was supposed to be scared or some shit like that. But yeah, I wasn't scared. My friend was scared for me, but I wasn't scared.
I mean, it's different when if like a white person admits to you that they know about some fucked up shit, then and they're trying to joke about it, than if they're the one that's actually doing it. Because a lot of white people are get tied to that stuff just from being white, you know. But it's not like you're gonna use that to judge somebody. You got to actually get to know somebody first to
Yeah.
realize that
The sad part about that is I
gonna
always
do
joke
anything
about when
racist.
somebody tells me that they're not racist because they have a black friend. I usually tell them the story. I have a white friend. He is married to a black woman. He has two beautiful mixed biracial kids, two beautiful mixed biracial daughters. Okay, apparently in their relationship, they hit a snag where his wife wanted to go out and do like other things, she wanted to try like new things, she wanted to take up like cooking classes, even though she knows how to cook. She's a damn good cook. She wanted to take up cooking classes. She wanted to take up like wine tasting classes. She wanted to take up sewing and shit like that. And the sad part about that is this guy, he loves his wife so much, he doesn't know how to do activities without his wife. You know what I mean? So he basically,
Yeah, that's like a common thing.
yeah, he doesn't know how to do any activities without his wife unless it's like with his friends. But the sad part about that is his wife actually made it mandatory that you have to go out and we have to pick an activity and we have to learn something because we have to learn how to be apart for all intents and purposes so we can actually appreciate each other more. Okay, cool. So she goes to her sewing classes. She does the fusion cooking thing and stuff like that. This guy, he would pretty much he would pretty much leave out the house and come back when she actually thinks he's gone. When he thinks she's gone, and he would come back and he would just sit on the couch and watch TV. That's all he did. That's all he did. And the sad part about that,
Right.
apparently his wife caught him one time and she yelled at him and scolded him and told him he needs to go do an activity. Sad part about that, he went to go do all these activities and he never even found anything that he actually liked, that actually enjoyed for all intents and purposes.
Unbelievable.
So he never even found anything he actually enjoyed. So he ran through a bunch of activities. He ended up quitting a bunch of activities, and he just never came back to any of the activities. So, long story short, somebody at work, somebody at his job, who doesn't know his family, obviously, thought it'd be a great idea to take him to a meeting. Okay, cool. They took him to a KKK meeting. This man lives in Pennsylvania. This man lives north of Pennsylvania, north of Pittsburgh, and this meeting was actually in like on the border of I think Pennsylvania, West Virginia. So he would like literally travel down there and go to these meetings, the KKK meetings, to pass time. Okay, cool. So this is what he was doing to pretty much kill time, so he won't get in trouble with his wife. And the sad part about that is he would just go to the meetings. And the sad part about that, he would tell me that people would tell him that you should bring your family. We're going to have a family picnic. He goes, yeah, I'll think about it. I'll talk to my wife. She may not be okay with it. She might have plans, this, that, and the other, but I'll talk to her. So he's basically trying to dodge bringing his family to the damn thing. And nobody knows that he actually is married to a black woman and has two beautiful biracial kids. So he's at this thing just, killing time until he can actually go back home to his wife. So he's literally sitting at these things, killing time. Then he eventually goes back home, and she goes, "How was your activity?" He goes, "It was okay. I tried to enjoy it like you told me to, and it was just stupid. But I'll try to stick with it." And the sad part about that, he hated every minute of it. But this is the only thing that he could think of that would actually keep him away from the house long enough, because the drive there was very long and the drive back was very long. So it killed most of his time being out. So he only stayed at the place for about like a good probably hour, not even an hour. Then he drove back for all intents and purposes, which was actually pretty funny. So this goes on for a while.
Wow.
So this goes on for a while in their relationship, and she doesn't even know that he's going through this thing. And the sad part about that is he felt so guilty about it. He literally called me up and said, "I need to have a drink and I need to tell you something, Tico. I really do. I feel like shit right now. I really do feel like shit right now." And so like his wife never knew he was going to these meetings. It's like, so the sad part about that, long story short, again, Apparently, his wife got tired of going out to all these extra things, so she said, how about we just do activities together and have a date night?" He goes, "Don't you want to do things separately?" She goes, "No. How about we just have a date night instead of just doing this thing separately?" He goes, "Okay." So he stopped going to the things and he enjoys all the date. He enjoys going. The sad part about that, the funny thing about this guy, he never liked plays or musicals or anything like that until like
Uh-huh.
until like he actually had to spend time away from his wife. Now he enjoys plays, musicals,
Wow.
shit like
Wow.
that for all intents and purposes,
Yeah.
ballet, you name it. He enjoys that orchestra. He's an orchestra buff now because he actually goes to these things. And the sad part about that, he's never enjoyed that shit up until he actually had to be apart
Mm-hmm.
from his wife. And,
Yeah.
and it's kind of crazy. He tried the strip club thing and it didn't work out too well for him. He didn't really like it. He felt like he was cheating on his wife, so he basically went back home and watched TV. Like think about this. This guy loves his wife so much that he can't think of any activities to do without her. That's like learning how to do your life without smoking.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That
It's
that that will be.
like
It will be
running your
like
life
so
without
awesome.
smoking, basically. It's like it's crazy. He's
It'll.
hit Red Lobster. He probably tried to, but you kind of figure you would have to drive to a Red Lobster far away from home so you can actually remotely kill that kind of time. But he's a good
Mm-hmm.
guy. I love him dearly. He's my best friend. And I wouldn't trade him for the world. But I was like, "Is your wife?" No, he goes, "No." I was like, "Good, because she'd probably kill us both." And I don't feel like being an accessory to your murder. And I don't feel like being a part of your murder.
Pretty much.
Like, because your wife's going to kill us both. She's a very lovely black woman. She's not one of them typical black women that be snapping her neck, popping her head type women. She's actually a very lovely, very conservative black woman, and she's a homebody, and she's always spending time with her children. She
Well,
don't complain about being a mother. She enjoys being a mother, and she enjoys being a wife for all
well,
intents
just
and
like
purposes.
to me, it's like Tico. It's like it's weird because it would in like every place that I've ever been, like even though I might have moved around just a slight bit, I've always
Hmm.
found there's like some single mother story, or there's somebody with that fits that archetype, or I somehow sometimes experience that like single mother dynamic and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and it just seems like a problem that's just here to stay, and that's very relevant, and that doesn't really warrant doing away with if it's like more or
You
less
say the
a
Klan fixed them. I highly doubt that. Americans. It's not like he's going
well,
back to
and
any of
I
them
just
meetings anymore.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're going to be talking about it for a while because you can't just like erase somebody off of the out of the dating market. If well, you can physically when you're as be like I'm not going to date that person, but you can't just ignore them as a whole. You can't
Yeah.
really just like you kind of have to talk. You kind of have to discuss and talk and analyze and philosophize about and have fun and shoot the shit because it's a topic just like any other topic
Yeah.
because this is what's
The
relevant to
Klan
talk about
fixed them. He's
nowadays.
a trip. I highly doubt that. But yeah, it's just stuff like that. Like I just have the most craziest associates in my whole entire life that actually are attached to me, and I just laugh at some of the shit that they get themselves into, or that I get myself into, for all intents and purposes. I'm actually blessed to have them around. I'm blessed to actually get myself into half the shit that I got myself into, because a nigga should have been dead a long time ago. Real
Dude,
shit.
usually, if you're, I mean, I feel like you're if you like have any like intelligence, you're down to piss somebody off, and
Hmm.
that's when they're more likely to like want to actually try to kill you.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's been my experience. It's like, well, if you want to follow, if you're like a kind of person that follows intellectual pursuits, then oh fuck, I can't have you here. I can't. If you're here, I'm gonna really regret you being here. And it's kind of like one of those things where it's like it's really not good to like put yourself in the limelight if you feel like you know something because I feel like it's only a matter of time before that you get taken the piss out of, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
it's just like really bad. It's really hard to put yourself out there on the line, especially when it comes to something that's so unstable as like a relationship. That's why I kind of admire the fact that you never like lead with the fact that you kind of let people figure that kind of stuff out, because it's not something
Mhm.
that should be public a lot of the time. And I feel like the public discourse has been saturated with just like sexual imagery and like what everybody does. And that's it is what it is, kind of like the single mother thing. It's here to stay.
Mhm.
But I think like the discourse should be more focused on giving you a thorough perspective of what men actually, I guess, do in their off time, or like when they're not really switched on, and just like focusing on what they're interested in and their hobbies and their yeah, like kind of what Dennis does, like the Jaguar Media, like just like focusing on what they are interested on, and
Mhm.
doing a lot to expand on that, rather than following like doing this whole grinding, like doing the work thing where you like grind and work on yourself so you can be good for another woman. It's like it's crazy. It's like a constant loop.
Yeah, it is. It's very crazy
It's
when
like
you do
it's
that
like an
shit.
endless cycle. And I mean that's what I consider to be blue pill. So I'm going off that notion. Somebody might have their other notion, and we can talk about it and discuss it. And I can leave, for the most part, I can leave my sexual history out of it, unless unless there's like an example that's really relevant, like to the
What?
topic.
Tico, what? This is for all intents purposes and not for all intents purposes. What do you mean by that, child?
It just sounds like when you're saying for all intents purposes. For all intents purposes.
But he said is and it not for all intents purposes. I don't say and not for all intents purposes. I say for all intents purposes. I've never once said for not for all intents not for all intents purposes. Unless he's talking about the whole entire relationship thing that you're talking about. It's like
Yeah,
the only thing I
that's the only
think I
time I
think
would
that's
ever
the only
say
thing I
for
think that he's referring to. But
not for all
yeah,
intents
it's
purposes.
not really necessary. But because at the end of the day, like I said, I'm not going to preach some shit and get people fucked up for no random damn reason. I'm not going to march them into the fire. I'm not Nazi Germany. Shit.
True, true. You're
I'm not
not
Nazi Germany
actually.
at all.
I've
Shit. I'm not gonna.
heard. I
This is
watched a
not
video on
Auschwitz. I'm not gonna
BitChute.
march men to the Auschwitz. No, I'm sorry. It's not happening. I don't give a damn how much you think I
I
should be
watched
doing it
a
for you, but
troll
no, I'm
video
not.
that said that you're not. That said that you're like a white supremacist Nazi. So I'm inclined to believe them.
Whatever, smart ass. Yeah, that was under Trend Labs News.
Mhm.
That was a video
Mhm.
under Trend Labs News.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was a
But
recent one. That was actually a recent
let me
text
see.
that somebody put. Yeah, but somebody actually said that in a
Huh.
live stream. Show me a white supremacist. That was a funny shit. Now, mind you, I had this logo up right here. Mind you, I had this avatar up at the time, but I got called a white supremacist.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless like you conquered.
But
I
I'm a
don't
white
know about
supremacist,
that.
right?
Unless you were like a white person who conquered all of those places, then that would be white supremacist. But you're
Yeah, I
not.
know, right? Yeah, that's the logo I was rocking when I got called a white supremacist. Somebody told me that they missed this logo. MGTOW Life told me he missed this logo right here. No, he said he hasn't seen this logo in a long time because I don't really haven't used it in a long time. Was it this? It was this one. He said he hasn't seen this one in a long time. when I'm trolling, this is my avatar when I'm trolling. Oh, I kicked it out. Oh damn. I kicked it out. Never mind. I'll show y'all next time what my trolling avatar is.
I like this. I like this one. This Cthulhu one. Well, it's not Cthulhu. The one, the being that birthed Cthulhu. That's
Oh,
what this one is. You know
that
me.
is.
I gotta I like my cosmic horror. That kind of stuff's really interesting
Yeah.
to me. Yo, I'm gonna get going, man. This has been good. This has been good.
Yeah, it has.
I would encourage people to go on my channel and like find a
Darren got a
video
new
that
sub.
you follow, like, or what?
You said you got a new sub
Like,
apparently.
find a video like that you like. I think that would be a better suggestion because I can't just say like watch all my videos or watch one in particular. Just like find a video that you like or something.
You find one you
Because
like you.
there's a lot of
Just
stuff on there.
add it to your favorites list, I guess.
I don't want to make. I don't want to. I don't want to like pick a because it's like 183 or 4 videos or something. But I think once I get to like 400 videos or so, I'm probably just gonna make a new channel. So at that point, it'll just all be there. This would be.
Oh, that's nothing, Yam. I got over 500 videos on this channel.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of it's pretty spread out. I mean, I don't know. It's like the auction, like the live streams and stuff. It's like in your older videos, they're all connected. Don't get me wrong, but it's like they could be on 2 completely different channels.
Well, no, they're all on this channel, and I got over 500 videos on this channel. That's not including the ones that I haven't like haven't scheduled yet.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Airing.
That's right. I forgot. No, forget. Yeah. No, because you got a lot of private videos too. I had those videos private. They're not private anymore. But
Well, no, they're basically uploaded private, and I basically got to schedule them for a particular day. So I got a lot of videos just in case I can't make a live stream or a podcast that day. So I could basically upload a video in place of it until I can actually do the podcast. Because I've been noticing lately, like today yesterday now I actually had to push the podcast back to 7:30, and I actually had to upload a video into place of it at 1 something.
Okay, let's do this since all of my videos and I think your videos all have autoplay Tucker or like Fox News. Let's just end this stream and all Baron Zeta streams with "Take it away, Tucker."
Take it away. Let me go find a Tucker. I'm gonna go find a Tucker one for that real quick. Hang on 1 second.
wait. Yeah. We're gonna do it just this one time, and if it's actually cool, I'll probably just be like, let's do it every single time. But honestly, this one's gonna be. Let me put Tucker Carlson as the avatar, and then I'll end it. You'll do that. Have a blessed night, everything, and then I'll do my outro. Then you do your outro, and then I'll say it. All right. This is Baron Yam. I love Tom Likas, and I love Barbarossa and all those old MGTOW content creators. If you ever get around to watching my channel, it's great. You see my face, it's awesome. And other ones, you see my gaming, it's awesome. Have a good day, and whatever I said, just that's my overall message. And if you go to watch my other videos, you're gonna be able to experience the other sides of my argument for the most part. But yeah.
Literally take it away, Tucker. He's literally on right now.
Is this live?
Yeah.
Wait, is he live?
No, he's not live. I just picked I picked the first video that popped up. He's talking about Kamala Harris. That's an old video. Stop sharing
that. A lot of people brought that up today, and I was just like, okay. So what you're saying is it's going to be a shit show at the at the voting booth. It's going to be it's going to be even crazier now because people are going to be voting with a bunch of like emotion. It's just like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right.
Might get beat up at the damn thing.
You might. That's why. Like my sister's like, I'm not even going to show up. I'm like,
I'm going.
I'm like, I'm gonna go vote, but it's like,
I'm gonna have to go vote. I'm sorry, I'm not voting. Shit, I'm voting this year. Shit, I ain't in that Democratic district no more, so I ain't gotta worry about nobody, jumping on my case for being the only Republican in the Democrat district.
It's great. It's great. I almost wanted to do this like, oh god, this live stream is not as didn't have to social distance as much in this live stream, but the past ones have been like packed. It's like outside of the DMV almost. Like it's just like,
Whatever. What you
long
trying to say
line,
about this live stream, punk?
slow service.
Huh?
No guess, slow service.
Whatever.
No, you actually do a great job. You do a great job.
Whatever, smart ass. Oh, goodness
Hey,
gracious.
read the Yelp reviews. Read the Yelp reviews
What do you mean read the Yelp reviews? What, there's Yelp reviews for my channel now?
for your channel.
Like the fuck?
Karen is like, he did not let me in. No, if Karen would have come in, I would be like, let her in.
No, I'm sorry, I'm not letting Karen in. Karen can come in on the Ox shit, but Karen can't come in on Baron and Sadist. Yeah, but Karen can come in on the Ox shit, but she can't come in on Baron and Sadist. But yeah.
Take it away, Karen. Cops, gun. I think I saw a gun.
Take it away, Karen.
When I say at my work now, I think I saw a fake 20.
Right?
Messed up.
Oh my god.
I gotta stop laughing at that. I'm freaking rolling up, ruffling, and people are like, why are you ruffling? You're giving me flashbacks. Stop.
I know, right?
Stop.
Oh shit, let me stop. That's too funny. I like picking on Karen.
All right. Well, be safe, Karen. Don't do it. Make sure you wear that mask, Karen. And you guys have a good night. Take it away, Tucker.
You're Tucker.
I'm Tucker.
Y'all have a blessed night. Be good to yourself,
different.
improve yourself, and do better by yourself. And always improve yourself. This goes for men or women, everybody across the board, no matter what your sex, gender, race, creed, whatever the fuck you are. And always improve upon yourself and make yourself the better version of you. Treat yourselves like milk. Do not spoil yourselves. Be out of here.
One.
Adios, my niggas.
Bye.
Bye, niggas. Bye. Oh, goodness gracious.